Please, everyone can be seated. Good morning and welcome to the class of 2022, family and friends, and our faculty and our distinguished guests. So we're going to start this morning with a welcome and comments from our Chancellor, Pradeep Khosla.
Thank you, Dean McCarroll. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Class of 2022, this is your day, and what a beautiful day it is to be your day. So let's start with a big congratulations to the class of 2022. Graduation from one of the country's top pharmacy schools is always marked with great celebration and some relief. But the class of 2022, that is you all, have a cause for something truly special. This graduation trait has become very meaningful because you have powered through a historic circumstances created by once-in-a-lifetime or once-in-a-century pandemic. You, the class of 2022, met the challenge with extraordinary effort, extraordinary brilliance, and resilience. And from this moment forward, you will look back and say, I was there. You will say, I was in pharmacy school when COVID-19 pandemic struck. But what else will you say about this time in your life? Not about your homework, okay? I hope you will say more than, I just became a pharmacist or I became a scientist. I hope you will say, I became a champion for health and a champion for well-being, and a champion for the underserved communities of this country and the world. Because indeed you have become a champion, and I mean this very sincerely. I have witnessed this class since the early days of the pandemic, and I have seen how you pivoted in an unimaginable situation, how you came together with your faculty and your staff, how together you embraced new ways to complete your studies, your labs, and your clinical rounds, and I saw you embrace the great unknown as an opportunity. A real-life opportunity to test your merit and your skills. I saw you expand your depth of knowledge, and I saw you do it exponentially. And I saw you make connections and deepen relationships during and in spite of the pandemic. And I saw you rise to meet every single new challenge that presented itself. And you did all of this, and you still achieved the highest residency and fellowship match rates in the country. That is a big deal. You also helped UC San Diego retain the top ranking for pass rates of both CPJE, JE, and NAPLEX, NAPLEX. Is it call it NAPLEX? What do you call it? That's what I thought, but I didn't want to take the liberty of NAPLEX board exams. So you are the personification of persistence, of excellence, because you have done amazing things already, and I believe and I know you will continue to do amazing things in your careers. You may not see it right now, but I hope you come to realize this truth. I hope you learn to see yourselves as I see you, as the faculty sees you, and as your family sees you. You are the heroes, like I said, of health and well-being. You are the heroes and the champions of the underserved, and you are our future. So we are all so very proud of your accomplishment. You've already done a lot for your local community, and collectively you volunteered countless hours in UC San Diego's free medical clinics. You have participated in numerous health fairs and community outreach programs, and as graduates, you will continue to do this and make your impact felt even more. You will practice state-of-the-art pharmacy, grounded in the strong UC San Diego foundational sciences. So I encourage you to bridge the healthcare gap in California, in the country, and in the world, and wherever you practice. Use your education to seek out new innovative solutions and make the leading edge your professional stomping ground. And continue, as I said, to be a hero of health, well-being, and the underserved. As chancellor, let me just say one more thing. I know this is your time, this is your day to graduate, and you're going to say, wait a second, I'm done. I'm never coming back. Quite the opposite. This is your home away from home. I hope you treat it as such, and I hope you do come back. Think about us often, do come back, because without you, we would not be as great as we are. And with you out there, we will be greater yet. So thank you very much, graduates of 2022. Congratulations. One more time, please.
So, class of 2022, I am so proud of you. It's just remarkable what you've done the past 4 years. I mean, think about it. I know for some of you it seems, oh, he put the white coat on me. It seems like only yesterday. And others of you are saying, wow, that seems like forever in the past, okay? And you've gone through a lot in 4 years, I know. I mean, you've done both remote and in-person classes. And you've gone to all of these sites for your experiential education, 9 different sites. That's pretty amazing. All throughout San Diego County, Orange County, for some of you. So in essence, yes, you're at the end of this long journey in terms of our school, but you're just beginning your journey as pharmacists. So I really look forward to seeing where each of you wind up. I remember not too long ago, I met many of you in my backyard when we had our party, and I was particularly pleased that even when the party was over, I realized that several of you actually have musical talent, and there was kind of like a little jam going on with my wife playing harmonica. That was remarkable. Yeah. Okay. So I think one of the things that you need to remember in these past 4 years is the people who actually mentored you, who taught you, who stood by you when you really needed them in times of stress. And that's our faculty. So I'd like our faculty to stand and be recognized by everybody. So one of the things that really impressed me about you as a class is what you did in terms of your research projects, because we are a research-intensive school of pharmacy. And the diversity of what you did is just, it just is amazing. Everything from discharge medication and at Rady Children's, the use of vancomycin in people with acute renal failure, all the way to the other end of the spectrum where some of you did things like screen for drugs against the waterborne infection Naegleria or studied proteases that are important in neurologic disease and everything in between. Just really, really great, and I applaud you for that. And lastly, I've been really impressed with your career trajectory. And I think as the Chancellor mentioned, this year, we've had so many people choose to go into residencies and match. That's really great. Not to mention people who are working in community pharmacies and people who receive fellowships from a number of different companies. So I applaud all of you for that. But going into residency is really, really important because to me, it indicates that you're going to become experts in certain areas of pharmacy. And I think it's a recognition that the public is beginning to see that a pharmacist really is a new type of individual, a member of the healthcare team and a primary healthcare provider. So really, your job is to help everyone understand all of these issues about drug therapy that no one else can ever understand. So that's going to be what you're going to be doing, and you're going to be consulting with people. So I think you've been well trained to do that, and I look forward to what you're going to do next. And finally, as the Chancellor mentioned, I want you to remember that even though this is your graduation day, please don't be strangers. I think many of you have seen where alumni have come back and taught you. Well, now you can come back and teach as alumni. So please don't be strangers. And I'll conclude here. I think we're actually going to go directly to 2 members of your class. Nee, and Tanner. So Tanner, you want to come up and give your remarks?
All right. Good morning, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Tanner, as it was just said. Just a little bit more. I was known for 4 things over these last 4 years. 1, being a human beacon because of my hair color. If you can't tell, it is bright red. You'll see it probably later in photos. 2, asking a lot of questions. Again. 3, making a lot of puns. Oh, that was supposed to be the bigger one. And lastly, talking a lot. So to the classmates here, don't worry, I won't ask any questions and I'll keep my comments shorter. No promises about puns though. So after that, it is very surreal to be standing here today. I still remember our first year being crammed into 1120, if any of you remember that. Barely fit in there with all 60 plus of us. And I remember being super nervous and anxious, just a bubbling pot of emotions, and having to meet, for me at least, 60 brand new faces, over 60 brand new faces, and not sure where the future was gonna go. And now 4 years later, look where we are. We're just moments away from actually becoming finally official doctors of pharmacy. And through these 4 years, I've been beyond grateful to be a part of this amazing group. Now that we've made it this far though, I wanna make sure, we do have celebrations in order, but even though you'll see the people walk up, you'll hear their names, you're not going to hear from every person in our class because we don't have time for that, and that would take hours. But I do want to take a moment to recognize some of these people that are in front of me and recognize kind of the demographics that we recognize. So we have, just so you know, we have first-generation college students here. We have students who are immigrants and refugees, parents and spouses, devoted volunteers and students, musicians and cooks. We have PharmD PhD students, or double doctors, as we've kind of said. People with contagious laughs and some pretty sneaky sass. Honestly, this list could go on for a long time, but again, we don't want to stay here for hours trying to go through it all. But I will say, together with our diverse background and gifts, we've definitely overcome more than I think we ever thought we would have as P1s. So going back to P1 year, so I'm going to keep this pre-pandemic stuff. I remember all of us cramming for biopharmaceutics exam. Stressing out, freaking out, because for those of you who don't know or recall your loved ones here stressing to you over the phone or whatever, that was our first exam period of pharmacy school, so we were all freaking out. We took over every room in the pharmacy building as well as the research building across the way, all just studying and trying to figure it all out. Clearly we all passed and we're all here and doing great, so one hurdle overcome. The next was our first OSCE. I remember all of us coming out afterwards feeling like we fumbled our way through trying to figure out a recommendation and then give that recommendation to a patient, and a mock patient at that, wasn't even a real patient. But now look where we are. We're giving pharmacokinetic recommendations to physicians themselves. We're adjusting patient therapies in ambulatory care clinics, and we're giving real-time consultations to actual patients. And with that, I know we're all gonna make our mark on the world. I, for one, can't wait to hear what barriers everyone in my class breaks in the healthcare industry as we move forward. Now, this process wasn't just all class time work and studying, thankfully, even though it was busy. We created new memories and bonds that I really hope will last our lifetimes. Even though pharmacy school may seem busy from the outside, we still had a lot of time to partake in some social events and round out that pie chart that Dr. Morello reminds us about every year for our work-life balance and everything. There were bonfires, holiday parties, the AC party, unfortunately only the one because of everything, Vegas trips, bar visits, restaurant week. We had lunchtime spike ball. As Dean McCarroll mentioned, we have the Serotones group. They did their jam sessions all the time, and just so much more that we got involved with. So needless to say, despite the class and everything, we never had a dull moment at Skaggs. Next, I want to thank everyone that's made this possible for us. So first, to our friends and family, both here and online. I don't know which camera the YouTube one is. I'm assuming it's that one, so look there. Thank you for your support and your sacrifices over the last few years. I know it's been difficult, whether it's financial, giving up time, having your loved ones move across states for some of you, and having to do whatever other sacrifices amidst the pandemic to get us here, so we do really appreciate that. To the faculty and staff, thank you for being our support here on campus and for guiding us in this process. We definitely could not have gotten here without you, and you've helped mold us into the clinicians we're going to be, so thank you. And then to the P3s who are here helping volunteer, just trying to see y'all, thank you for helping this to run smoothly. I'm sure you probably had more fun things to do on a beautiful Saturday, so we appreciate you being here as well. And then lastly, to my classmates, just thank you. Thank you for being my second family away from home. Thank you for supporting me and those around you through our highs and our lows. Thank you for the memories, the laughter, and deeply meaningful conversations. I know I could not have done this without you, and despite any distance that might get, physical distance that might get between us, I'll always remember all of you, and we'll stay in touch for sure, or at least you better. As our time here comes to a close at Skaggs, we will start to find our new ways to change the world. As we do this, there are 4 things that I want all of us to remember and think about as we go through this journey. So first, remember those hard days and those hard nights. Lean on those memories, especially in times of crisis, to become a more empathetic and compassionate caregiver. Because we've all had our struggles in one way or another, and if we haven't, we have peers who have. And we've helped them through it, and we can continue to help now our patients through those moments. Second, continue asking questions. Clearly my favorite. And always be curious. Sitting before me are some of the most brilliant and inquisitive minds that I've ever met, and that's after now 8 years of college. I can comfortably say that. And I don't want any of you to let anybody minimize that or try to take that away from you. Always push your boundaries, always ask those questions. If we continue to learn and seek out opportunities for growth, we will be pioneering the future of healthcare. I can guarantee it. Third, which you've all heard me say this before already, take care of yourself. Physically, emotionally, and mentally. Make sure you take care of yourself as we get these new stressors in life. Whether it's fellowship, whether it's residency, whether it's going straight into the workforce, whether it's new family growing, whether it's just moving into another state, any stressors that may come, make sure we take care of ourselves too so we can take care of others. And then remember, you always have your Skaggs family here if you need us. And then lastly, number 4, be proud of yourself and what you've accomplished. I've only spent about 7 minutes talking about what we've gone through, and that's only a mere snapshot of our entire career and our stories. But I'm confident that our friends and family are proud of us and what we've accomplished so far. And I can say myself, I am proud of all of us and all of you. You've all done so much and achieved so much. Again, if you look at the pamphlets, you only see our research projects. You don't see everything else that was underneath there. We do not have time to go into that. So I am proud for all we've accomplished and done, both for yourselves, for Skaggs, for the field of healthcare, you name it. So after all that, it would not be me if I didn't end this on a pun. I refrained this long. Just thank you for being my family. Thank you, and then I'll pass this over to our current class president, Ni Trong.
Thank you, Tanner, for those lovely words. Now, if you know Tanner, you know he's a tough act to follow, so I'm going to try my best. Hello, everyone. My name is Ni Trong, and I'm the P4 class president. I'd like to start by saying hello and good morning to the faculty, to family, friends, and loved ones in attendance today, as well as those joining us on the live stream. And of course, good morning to my fellow classmates. I am honored to be standing up here today as we celebrate the achievements of the class of 2022. In a few moments, we'll all be walking across this stage and moving into the next chapter of our lives as pharmacists. But before we take these momentous steps, I think it's important that we take a few steps back and acknowledge the strides we've made to be here today. I'll start with a commonality that we all share, I think the capacity to fear. I've been asked this many times, I'm not sure why, but before and during pharmacy school. I'm not sure who decided it was a good icebreaker question, but here it is. What's your biggest fear? For a long time, I didn't really have a real or tangible answer until I realized my fears weren't quite physical. My biggest fear was the uncertainty and the unknown, and the thought of not knowing what was next was terrifying, I'm sure for many of you as well. I think we can all share the sentiment that it can be daunting and overwhelming to step outside of our comfort zones. But the people that I've encountered here and the experiences that I've had here at Skaggs have allowed me to move beyond these boundaries. I've met so many individuals that have challenged me to grow both personally and professionally. As students, our time at the free clinic has helped us learn how to care for an underserved population. We've had clinical rotations that allowed us to apply what we had learned over the last few years, but also challenge us to be adults and balance a 40-hour work week with everything else in our lives: family, parenting, hobbies, pets, wedding planning for many of you, among many others. We've grown as leaders and mentors to the first, second, and third year students. We were surrounded by preceptors and faculty that have challenged us to consider everything from a patient's financial status to the vancomycin dose for a patient with unstable kidney function. We were lucky to have faculty members who work endlessly to help guide and support us. And we've seen growth in our many friendships, relationships, and mentorships. During some of my rotations, for example, with Professor Pawnee Kelly, Dr. Jennifer Namba, they both said to me, "Call me Pawnee," or "Call me Jen," which, though it may seem like a small gesture, it was big to me and big to many of us as our mentors become our mentors and teachers become our friends and soon to be colleagues. And last but certainly not least, we've all built our families, as Tanner had mentioned, with classmates that have become lifelong friends. As Andy Bernard said in The Office, I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old days before you've actually left them. Standing up here today, it doesn't feel quite real that 4 years have gone by and pharmacy school has come to an end. But regardless of what is next, I feel confident that the last few years have prepared us to take on whatever comes our way. The fear and the apprehension about uncertainties of the future pale way far in comparison to the confidence and the conviction that this program and that the people in this room have given us. We've heard time and time again that pharmacy is a small world, and I'm sure we'll continue to hear that as we move beyond UC San Diego and the walls of Skaggs. We often hear pharmacy as a small world as a cautionary tale, but I invite you to see it in the opposite light. Because for me, this small world has been so certain and so comforting. I'd like to think this small world means I get to hear about all of the amazing things that you all will achieve. I hope it means I get to attend some of your weddings. I hope it means I get to tell a colleague that the paper they're citing was written by a classmate of mine. I hope it means I get to hear and learn about new medications that you all develop and bring to market. I hope it means we get to be colleagues in the near future. I really hope it means our paths continue to cross in this small world of pharmacy. To the amazing faculty and staff here at Skaggs, thank you for showing us what it means to practice at the top of your professions. To our parents, family, friends, and loved ones, we would not be here without your unwavering support and encouragement. And to the class of 2022, thank you for being my constant among all of the unknown. Congratulations. We did it.
So now you can see the class of 2022 is so articulate. It's great. And now it's my pleasure to introduce our commencement speaker, Professor Leslie Bennett. Professor Bennett is a member and former chairman of the Department of Bioengineering and Therapeutic Sciences at the University of California, San Francisco. And he's really the perfect person to be a commencement speaker for our school because he has trained both as a pharmacist and as a pharmaceutical scientist. And his expertise spans a number of different areas, including pharmacokinetics, biopharmaceutics, drug delivery, and pharmacodynamics. He is the person that all of us turned to when we wanted to know about the details of those areas. And in fact, several of our faculty members have been trained by him. Just as an example of how he is respected in the community, yes, he's published hundreds of papers. Okay, everybody's published hundreds of papers. But more importantly, those papers have been cited tens of thousands of times. Oh, not thousands of times, tens of thousands of times. So that means that someone actually read those papers, okay, and they had some influence on what they were doing. So I think that more than anything else is a testament to the way he's respected in the community. He has obviously won a number of awards. You can kind of see by looking at him, he's the guy with the fuzzy vest, okay? But aside from the awards, the things that you might find particularly important was he was actually a founder and the first president of the American Association of Pharmaceutical Scientists. And he's a past president of the American Association of College of Pharmacy, AACP, that everyone knows of. But perhaps his greatest achievement is he received the Remington Medal. The Remington Medal is the highest honor given to an American pharmacist. And so without further ado, Professor Leslie Bennett.
Thank you, Dean McCarrow, and thank you, class, for having me as your speaker. So I thought that I would talk about your potential. There is a video that was produced by Johnson & Johnson in the end of last year, and in that video they talk about the pharmacist as never more crucial, never more heroic, and never more appreciated. So different than what a pharmacist was a number of years ago, with a pharmaceutical company acknowledging the contributions that you can make. So let me tell you first about all this stuff I'm wearing that Dean McCarrow talked about. So I have a number of honorary degrees, been fortunate. This hat is University of Uppsala, Sweden. It's got the little pharmacy symbol on the top. This is University of Leiden of the Netherlands. This is University of Athens in Greece. This is the Catholic University of Louvain in Belgium. This is University of Lisbon in Portugal. And this, as Dean McCarrow said, is the most precious, the Remington Medal. There's only 93 people who have received the Remington Medal since its inception in 1918, and I'm very proud to be one of those. So class, let me teach your friends and family something first. Well, first of all, class, why don't you stand up and thank your friends and family for what they have done for you over the years? Thank you. So, as Dean McCarrow said, one of the areas that I'm an expert in is pharmacokinetics. And friends and family, if you've taken the time and looked through some of these titles, you will see the word pharmacokinetics in there. So let me give you a definition of it, and let's go to the most authoritative source we can find, which is, of course, Wikipedia. So if you look up the simple definition in Wikipedia of what pharmacodynamics is, it's what the drug does to the patient. And if you look at the definition of pharmacokinetics, it's the inverse. what the patient does to the drug. If you look to the citation for that quote, you'll find Leslie Bennett is the person who made those definitions. Now, I looked at Wikipedia last night, and it doesn't list my name. It says reference to, and there is no reference to. In the old days, it used to have my name there. Okay, so let's talk about what pharmacokinetics is and why this is important to your family and your friends and to you. So pharmacokinetics is what the body does to the drug. So you're taking that drug to solve your clinical problems. You may have kidney disease, and therefore we've heard vancomycin, an antibiotic in kidney disease that a number of your students or graduates worked on, and I do have some papers on vancomycin pharmacokinetics in neonates most recently. You need to adjust your dose based on that kidney function, otherwise you have toxicity. What if you have congestive heart failure and your blood flow changes to the various parts of your organs? What dose do you now give to that patient compared to the patient without congestive heart failure? Your graduates know how to do that. What if you have ulcers and don't absorb the drug? What are you going to do alternatively to create and solve those problems? What if you have liver disease? The liver is the major organ for eliminating the drug in the body, so you're going to get higher concentrations and have the potential for toxicity. What if you have cancer that changes the regulation of many of the protective mechanisms in the body? What your graduates, your family members and friends know how to do and will do in going out in the world is to solve those problems. We are very proud of them that they'll be able to do this. So how are we going to take that information and translate it and move forward? Now, in 2003, I had the honor of speaking at the white coat ceremony of UC San Diego. Oh, by the way, when I told you what all these things were, I forgot to tell you, my underwear is jockey. So, yeah. So in 2003, I spoke at the white coat ceremony, and I told the students then that one of the things I wanted them to consider during their career and to think about all the time was to suspend disbelief. Suspend disbelief. You are going to see, graduates, a lot of things that don't correspond to what that faculty taught you. Your first reaction is to think there's something wrong with the data, there's something wrong with the analysis, but suspend disbelief. You are at the cutting edge of seeing something that we haven't understood before. So don't think it's always an error. It may be something very useful that you can make the new discovery or lead to the new discovery. I want to give you an example of something and talk about my trainees. First, let me go back to Dr. McCarrow saying all my publications and my citations. I want to give the faculty and any of you going to academia a little clue. How do you get lots of publications and lots of citations? So I publish a lot of very controversial things. And as soon as that controversial paper comes out, I write another paper that says, no, I was wrong. So I get another paper and I get a citation. That sits out there for a while, and then I write, no, I was right in the first place. So I have now 3 papers on the same topic and 2 citations, and I keep doing it over and over and over. And so that's the secret. So I want to talk to you about something very recently that we've been working on. So earlier this year, in this 2022, we published a paper on how to measure TAF and TDF in hair. Okay, those are drugs, family and friends, that we take for HIV. If you watch sports and you listen to all the ads, you see these thousands of ads for Biktarry. Biktarry is one of those drugs, okay, contains one of those drugs. So what we do in terms of looking at these drugs is we measure them in hair, and let me tell you why. So first of all, as Dean McCarrow said, I have trained a number of your faculty at UCSF, and one of your faculty, Dr. Shirley Sonoda, actually worked in my laboratory, and that's where she did her research. She's up at UCSF because it's the 30th graduation of her class, so she's at UCSF. I said I'd come down and replace her for... So one of my graduates, I have actually quite a number of them that I've trained. I've trained 59 PhDs and about 130 other fellows and staff and physicians and PharmDs. One of those, actually, everybody in the audience may know, because you've probably been listening in COVID to an expert in infectious disease, Monica Gandhi. Monica Gandhi is often quoted in terms of what we should do about in COVID. Monica was one of my fellows. Monica and I continue to work together. She's primarily an expert in HIV, but because she's an infectious disease, she became very involved in the COVID relationships. So why are we measuring these drugs in hair? Well, that's a very simple way, without taking a blood sample, without going into Africa and getting a small hair sample, that we can then tell if patients have been taking their drugs, we can see if PrEP is working, we can see why they respond, do they respond, because hair levels actually are quite similar for many of drugs. So I run the laboratory for Dr. Gandhi in these studies. And as I said earlier this year, what we did was to publish how to measure TDF, tenofovir disproxil, it's Viriad, and TAF, tenofovir alafenamide, which is Vemlidy, but it's a bunch of other things, Descovy and Biktarvy and other things. And we measure them in hair. And we published the assay just so people would be able to look at this. Here's suspending disbelief. Your students know that the TDF dose is 300 milligrams a day. The TAF dose is 25 milligrams a day, both containing tenofovir. If you measure tenofovir in the plasma following 300 milligrams of TDF or 25 milligrams of TAF, you will see that difference. But we reported in the paper that in hair, the concentrations of tenofovir were exactly the same from those two doses in the patients we treated. Now, your first reaction to that is, well, maybe your assay is not right. But now you know why that difference is. The toxicity from tenofovir, which is renal toxicity and bone mineral density loss, relates to plasma levels of tenofovir. The activity of tenofovir is getting inside the peripheral blood lymphocyte cell, being converted to a diphosphate that then has the activity. So we haven't published it yet, but there's an obvious follow-through with suspending disbelief. Maybe hair is in fact measuring the active levels of tenofovir in the body, since we get the same levels with the 25 milligrams of TAF and the 300 milligrams of TDF. Those are the kinds of things that you will see data and it doesn't make any sense to you, but you follow through and you look forward to it. So you are going to be asked many things and be able to respond many times. And the big change that's happened in the last couple of weeks is what the Supreme Court is going to do in terms of Roe versus Wade. And you are going to be asked all the time about this. So I actually chaired the committee in 1993 from the National Academy of Medicine, clinical applications of mifepristone, RU486, and other antiprogestins. Back in 1993, we said that it looks like you did not need to go to the physician to get this drug. It's the safest way. If you are going to allow abortion, it's actually the safest way to administer the drug. Now, we didn't make any political statement, and of course it's a very political issue, but you are the experts in science, and you'll be able to translate that information for your patients and to make an important decision one way or another about what somebody's going to do. I looked at a bunch of videos from the school. I was thinking of doing the Kiki challenge, but I think I won't do that. So. But I did look at Dean McCarro's videos where he talked about what he thought pharmacy would be. Pharmacists would be the primary healthcare provider and an integral part of the healthcare team, and both the Chancellor and Dean McCarro emphasized that. I congratulate you on the ASHP Center of Excellence in Medication Use Safety and Pharmacy Practice and being the first school to do that, and I know that many of you were involved with that, and certainly your faculty was. I enjoyed the Chancellor talking about the best things that you did in terms of NAPLEX and in terms of the matches and in terms of the legal aspects of where your school was best. So I looked on your website, and those three things are saying this is the best school that does that, and it said it's the third best school in global ranking by academic subject. Wow, I said, I didn't know that. What's the first best school by academic ranking in subject? And it turns out it's Harvard, which has no pharmacy or pharmaceutical scientists. But the second best school, someplace called UCSF, I don't know. So you are great, and you're going to go out and make significant contributions. You're never going to be more crucial, never more heroic, or more appreciated. Congratulations.
Thank you, Professor Bennett. And now it's my pleasure to reintroduce our Chancellor, who's going to confer the degree of Doctor of Pharmacy.
Thank you, Dean McCarro. And the only thing that stands between you and graduation and real money is me. I can make it quick or I can make it painful. Okay. I think you have endured a lot of pain in your studies. You've done a lot of good work. Let's just make it quick. So, upon the recommendation of the faculty of University of California, San Diego, and by virtue of the authority vested in me by the regents and the president of the University of California, I confer upon you the doctoral degree to which you're entitled with all the honors, recognition, responsibilities pertaining thereto. Congratulations one more time, class of 2022.
Wow, yeah, now I have to call you doctor. So I'm going to invite up Dr. Morello, Dr. Daniels, who's already there, so that we can actually give you your really graduation diploma.
I'm really short, so this helps me. Chancellor, distinguished guests, family and friends, our graduates and faculty and staff, thank you for being here today as we celebrate the amazing class of 2022. I just want to remind the family and friends that there are these sanctions. Just stay behind there if you want to take pictures. We've got a couple of photographers who will be taking pictures, and so those pictures will be available to you. Inside the program, you'll notice that there's a designation for PLS, or Phi Lambda Sigma. This is a national pharmacy leadership organization, and you'll see several of your graduates with these cords on, demonstrating that they have Phi Lambda Sigma status. What I'm going to do is announce the graduate's name, and they'll come over, be met by my esteemed faculty member, and come up the stairs, get hooded, get your diploma, and they'll be taking pictures over here that you'll be able to take with their diploma. So with that, class, you're at the top of your cake. So let's get this started. All right, here we go. Hold on, let me just get a tiniest little sip of water real quick. You know I wouldn't miss this day. All right, let's go, class of 2022. Gianna Abraham. Shams Manjid Alkas. I forgot to say the doctors. So that would have been Dr. Gianna Abraham, Dr. Shams Alkas, and Dr. Andre Atunes. Dr. Kirati Bey. Dr. Catherine Becker. Dr. Amanda Bookout. Dr. Haley Noel Clyett. Dr. Andrew Bin Dang. Dr. Chelsea David Nicolay. Dr. Rock Vang. Dr. Jennifer Ui Fong. Dr. Jessica Fong. Dr. Melanie Renee Gosen. Dr. Christopher Gonzalez. Dr. Jean Hanna. Dr. Eric He. Dr. Amy Samantha Heeman. Dr. Mustafa Hijaz. That's how it's done. Dr. Anthony Huynh. Dr. Dustin Huynh. Dr. Christy Huynh. Dr. Heidi Kim. Dr. Tara Francis Correa. Dr. Kimberly Lai. Dr. Elliot Lamb. Dr. Kenson Lamb. Dr. Stephanie Lamb. Dr. Stephanie Lucarelli. Dr. Kelly Ma. Dr. Annie Mai. Dr. Lena Mamiza. Dr. Tanner Melton. Dr. Nick Mohan. Dr. Binan Win. Dr. Khan Win. Dr. V. Nguyen. Dr. Victoria Nguyen. Dr. Tenny Papelian. Dr. Michelle Park. Dr. Jeff Pang. Dr. Don Pham. Dr. Vivian Pham. Dr. Anthony Quach. Dr. Jeffrey Rodriguez. Dr. Sandy Robaya. Dr. Afrouz Saburi. Dr. Michael Saman. Dr. Amanpreet Sarai. Dr. Jessica Scarlata. Dr. Gloria Shen. Dr. Karen Ciazone. Dr. Nisa Situ. Dr. Monica Sliwa. Dr. Amanda Jordan Stewart. Dr. Joshua Then. Dr. Linda Tran. Dr. Julie Trin. Dr. Eni Trong. Dr. Norin Tung. Dr. Nguyen Vo. Dr. Allison Quinn Vu. Dr. David Wong. Dr. Sarah Wu. Dr. Aaron Yamanaka. We'll hold our applause till everybody gets in their seats. Give each person their moment. It's so special. No pressure to hurry or anything. With that, let's give a round of applause for the class of 2022. If I could stand taller, I'd stand taller, but I'm pretty tall right now. Next, I'd love to be able to introduce our alumnus speaker. She sat in your seat just a few short years ago from the class of 2016. So please come join us, Dr. Deborah Abraham. Don't think she needs my stool. You can have it. Maybe I will use it. Okay.
Oh, you're so tall.
I know. This is, okay. Thank you so much for the introduction, Dr. Morello. My name is Deborah Abraham, and I am a proud Skaggs alum from 2016. And I'm so happy to be here today to congratulate the graduating class of 2022 on completing another milestone that is pharmacy school. This is so exciting to be here together celebrating this day in person. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first in-person commencement that's happened in the last 3 years. In fact, my husband, Matt Abraham, graduated last year from here at UCSD Skaggs after 9 years of doing his PharmD PhD. And sadly, there couldn't be an in-person graduation for obvious reasons. It had to very specifically be a drive-by diploma distribution. Dr. Morello was very clear. This was not a graduation. It was a drive-by diploma distribution. So, and of course, after 9 whole years of being at Skaggs, we were all very bummed that we couldn't get together on a day like today to celebrate him. So, hun, this is a little bit for you. So a little bit about me. I am an internal medicine preceptor at Sharp Memorial Hospital down in Kearney Mesa. And what that means to the lovely families and friends of this graduating class is that I get to work with students when they are in the hospital and they are so very green. Pretty much right after they signed off of their last Zoom class, that's when I get them. And that transition could be very tough for some, for them, for me. It's hard all around. However, I have met and worked with a good chunk of you over the last year. And I have to say, you are the reason why I'm here today. Standing here, giving this speech that's giving me nightmares and nausea on and off for the last couple of weeks. Because if those of you that I've met and worked with are a true representation of this class of 2022, then what an amazing class this is. Frankly, I never expected to be up here. I was never an academically gifted student. I think I got like 4 honors. I'm not a pharmacist that's moving and shaking mountains or one that's on every committee. I'm a regular pharmacist who gets to work with some of you as you're getting some experience in the hospital setting. I'm a pharmacist who will eventually be one of your coworkers. So my thought behind writing this speech was, what can I offer to you as you're going off into the next chapter of your pharmacy career? For those of you who are going off into industry, outpatient, a PGY1, Katie, I'll see you in a couple weeks. What do I want you to hear that you haven't heard before? UCSD really prepares you for the board exams. Yes, absolutely. Pharmacy school, or pharmacy, is a very small world. Yeah, that's absolutely true as well. There are so many avenues that you can take using the pharmacy degree. That one I'm still trying to work out, but I did hear that a lot. So I've given this a lot of thought, and what I've learned over the last 6 years, and what I wish someone had told me when I was in those seats, is that is what this is. It's a career, a job, an important job, but a job nonetheless. It's been a weird time during COVID, post-COVID, whatever you want to call this moment that we're in right now. There's been a shift in this work culture. A lot of people had to stay home, work from home with a lot of time to think. For many people, it was a time of reevaluation, the Great Migration. There's now this emphasis or attention placed on burnout culture. And I see it, I feel it, and I know that I'm not alone. Thinking back over the last few years, I felt like one of the really lucky ones to be able to go into work. My coworkers and I talked about this quite a lot, about how grateful we felt to be able to come into work, to see each other, and to still have this sense of community. The thing is, I know that you are all going to excel. I've met some of you, seen your diligence and your hard work. I know you will excel. That's not a question. My advice is not about that, but to find joy in what you do. Surround yourself with people who make it meaningful, to find what makes you love your job. I know that those are some big asks. So what I've boiled it down to is to, at the very least, set aside some time and some mental space to give it some real thought. I think we all know that pharmacy doesn't have a reputation for being the most exciting job. I heard from a classmate a few years ago that pharmacists are auditors, and that's exactly right. That's exactly what we do. I'm an auditor, and to be quite honest, I love my job. That doesn't scream exciting, but I don't think that's what loving your job is really about. It's not about knocking 1,000 PACU orders or de-escalating antibiotics, although that does feel pretty nice, or even seeing that upward progression in a P4 student or in a resident. It's not about the title that you'll have, the board certifications, or the interventions that you'll make that will last, but the culture of work that you create and the people that you'll work with. Those are the things that you're gonna remember. The things that you'll look forward to going into work, day in and day out, and the thing that you'll wanna protect. What that looks like might be different for you or the person sitting next to you. You know, I know there's been a busy time, an exciting time, a transitional time, but if you think about it, for the last 4 years, it's been an endless focus on learning about pharmacology, therapeutics, pharmacy law, preceptorships, and yeah, that's all very, very important. It's all been about pharmacy. You've committed so many hours to internships, committees, and volunteer events, but now that it's all said and done, and you're about to transition into the real world, there's this other really important thing. how to find joy in this career, a joy that you get to create, to contribute to, and to be a part of. And I think it's really important to pause and think about what you want that to look like, and then make it happen. You get to make it happen, and then my hope is that you share it with the next generation. Thank you.
So this concludes the formal part of our commencement. However, I would like to invite all of you to join us for a reception just outside of our Pharmaceutical Sciences building, which is on the south end of campus. And if you don't know how to get there, follow someone who does, okay? And before we leave, I'd like to thank again our Chancellor for conferring the degrees, Professor Bennett for his very appropriate remarks, and Dr. Morello for correctly pronouncing the names of the class of 2022. From her perch behind the podium, okay? And just one last thing, as we exit, I would ask family and friends to please remain seated until the class and the faculty have filed out. That way we prevent chaos. We just don't want to have chaos. So anyway, thank you all again for coming.
Obviously, this is your last graduation.